So let me get this straight. PFF says that our first round pick of Najee Harris back in the 2021 NFL draft is the worst among all of the other first round picks. All right. Now before I really rant about this shit, I have seen a lot of dumb posts. I've seen a lot of stupid shit on the internet many times before in my 20 years and counting life. I really have. I mean, I've seen stuff so stupid to the point where I feel like I'm losing brain cells. But you see, this right here, I'm like when I came across this article right here saying that PFF analyst calls Steelers running back Najee Harris the worst, okay, the worst first round pick of the 2021 NFL draft. Like, I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, like, okay, people always want to say that the Pew Stinkland Deflatrix and the Dallas Bitch Boys are the two most despised teams in the NFL. But if you ask me, it is by far the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm not even kidding. If you ask me, I really do think that we are the most hated team in the NFL, to the point where articles like these are just so foolishly and ignorantly biased towards us. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. Although I do get this though. PFF is, headquartered in Cincinnati. Now I'm assuming that it's a bunch of stupid ass hungover Bengals fans from losing the Super Bowl, on top of the fact that we have owned their franchise for so damn long. Like, I can understand their anger and frustration over those two things. But my God, it's like, can you be real for once? But anyways, so, like, if Najee Harris was the worst first round pick of the 2021 NFL draft, like, I mean, he couldn't have possibly, rushed for 1,200 yards, okay? He rushed for 1,200 yards behind one of the worst offensive lines in NFL history. Okay, and of course, and if you include his receiving yards, that will make his total yards of offense, I believe, to 1,600 yards, with a 39-year-old carcass at quarterback throwing to him. Now, yes, Big Ben will always be my quarterback, but my God, he was a carcass last year. He was a corpse. And on top of the fact that the offense was is really not that talented around Najee Harris for the most part, and considering the numbers that he put up, despite all of that, especially our tomato can offensive line that could not block anybody on Facebook, you want to sit here and call Najee Harris the worst, WORST, worst first round pick of the 2021 NFL draft. Like, get the fuck out of here, PFF. More like PFFT. Because you're a fucking joke. You're an April Fool's joke. Like, anybody that watched Najee Harris last year in his rookie season, he looked like a superstar running back despite our offensive line. He looked like a superstar running back despite the offense that he had around him in general. Outside of tight end, maybe, of course. But seriously, like I just don't understand the stupidity that comes out of these people's mouths and brains. I don't. I mean, come on. Let's read. Here, actually, no. How about I list you some of these garbage offensive linemen that blocked for him? from this past season, and and the fact that Najee Harris looked like a superstar despite them. We had Dan Moore, a bum, at left tackle. Kevin Dotson, left guard. I mean, he was by far the best offensive lineman we had this past season. But that doesn't say much. The guy is good when healthy, but he's also very injury prone. Kendrick Green, bum. I hope we never start him at center again. Right guard. Right guard. Let's see. John Leglue. I mean, seriously, like our offensive line is so bad. Like me as a Steelers fan, I just keep forgetting who's on our offensive line because they're a bunch of nobodies. Because they're that fucking bad. But yeah, him. Yeah, and then of course we had J.C. Hassanier, whatever his name is. I probably said his last name wrong. He was starting at center whenever Kendrick Green. Would you know? Yeah, I think the less said about Kendrick Green, the better. And then of course at right tackle we have Chukwuma Okorafor, one of the worst offensive linemen. Most likely the worst offensive lineman I've ever seen, and he is more than deserving of being considered one of the worst offensive linemen in NFL history. But yeah, I mean, Najee Harris, I mean, the guy was the worst first round pick of the 2021 NFL draft, right? I mean, he had to have been, considering the fact that he ran for 1,200 yards behind a dumpster fire, okay, a dumpster fire offensive line. Like this offensive line, okay, like it was just so awful. It was just so fucking bad to the point where I wanted to motherfucking cry. That is how bad this offensive line was. And is until they prove us otherwise. But yeah, I mean, seriously, like, the offense in general, though, not just the O-line, but the offense in general. Let's look at the offense for example. Okay, the only places on offense that we're truly set at is number one running back and a decent 2 tight end set. Now, I would say at guard between Kevin Dotson and James Daniels, who we just signed, who was recently with the Chicago Bears. But again, I'm gonna wait until the offense proves us otherwise for 2022 and beyond. But yeah, other than that, I mean, outside of Najee Harris, I mean, the running backs behind them are very mediocre. We have a slightly above average 2 tight end set behind an inconsistent Deontay Johnson and a very inconsistent Chase Claypool. We have basically a practice squad receiving core. We have the worst quarterback room in football. And we have easily unquestionably the worst offensive line in football. At least until everything is proven otherwise. Now, people want to sit here and say, oh, fire Matt Canada. You see, Matt Canada may not have been the solution from this past season, but at the same time, he's also not the problem. So PFF, or should I call you PFFT because you're a joke, you're laughable. Explain to me again how the fuck Najee Harris was the worst first round pick of the 2021 NFL draft. Explain to me. Explain to me again. Come on. Explain to me. Explain to me, you Cincinnati headquartered bungle fans. At least I assume you are. Because you're probably still upset that Joe Burrow couldn't be like his daddy Big Ben in Super Bowl 56. You know what I'm saying? Down 23-20, 43 seconds to go. Big Ben hits Santonio Holmes for a touchdown. Joe Burrow incomplete on a 4th and 1 to lose the game. Another thing I want to add, you see, Najee Harris took until the playoff game against the Kansas City Chiefs to lose a fumble, which is pretty impressive for a rookie, especially considering that was a playoff game that we had no business being in because to be quite honest, we shouldn't have even made the playoffs in the first place this past season. It doesn't even feel like we did anyway. But yeah, that, and of course the week 2 stiff arm against Jonathan Abram against the Las Vegas Raiders, which of course that game I was actually at, by the way. And that guy is supposedly considered a hard-hitting safety. But yeah, Najee Harris was the worst first round pick of the 2021 NFL draft. Yeah, okay. Yeah, he was the worst first round pick of the 2021 NFL draft. Yeah, sure. 1,200 yards behind one of the worst O-lines to ever step field on for a football game. Yeah, okay. Yeah. He sure as hell was the worst first round pick of the 2021 NFL draft. He sure as hell was. Get the fuck out of here. I mean, think about it. Like, if we give Najee Harris just an average offensive line, I mean, hell, give him a very mediocre, give him a very, very mediocre offensive line. He'd be running, he'd be running wild. Like he would be more talked about than Jonathan Taylor was. If you give him an elite offensive line, sorry, I had the hiccups, but if you give him an elite offensive line, his numbers would look like Derrick Henry. I'm telling you. And so there you have it. Fuck PFF, or actually I should say PFFT. And yes, I spelled it correctly. PFFT, because they're a joke. They're fucking laughable. Anybody that agrees with this article is an idiot. Like, I have seen stupidity so many times in my life. I mean, hell, I deal with stupidity every time I talk to a Patriot fan. But my God, I mean, this article right here, literally made me want to fall forward on my face for how stupid and pathetic it was. But anyways, I am out.